Monopolize. Thought we had gone through this one too. Activity, causing effect, law of polarity, law of rhythm. Chapter 3. Is opportunity monopolized? No person is kept poor because opportunity has been taken away from him or her because other people have monopolized the wealth and have put a fence around it. Pretty cool stuff when you let this stuff settle in, right? No person is kept poor because opportunity has been taken away from him or her because other people have monopolized the wealth and have put a fence around it. You may decide not to engage in certain kinds of business, but there are other channels open to you. At different periods, the tide of opportunity moves in different directions according to the needs of the whole and to the particular stage of social evolution which has been reached. There is an abundance of opportunity for man or woman who will go with the tide instead of trying to swim against it. Office workers, either as individuals or as a group, are not deprived of opportunity. The workers are not being kept down by their masters. The workers are not being kept down by their masters, by the powers of big business and conglomerates. As a group, they are where they are because they do things in a certain way. When it begins to do things in a certain way, the working class can become the master class. The law of wealth is the same for it as it is for all other groups. Workers will remain where they are as long as they continue to do as they do. The individual worker, however, is not held down by the ignorance or the mental sloughness of his class. You're not who you hang around with, much like a map is not the territory. The individual worker, however, is not held down by the ignorance of the mental sloughness of his class. He can follow the tide of opportunities to riches. This book will tell him how. No one is kept in poverty by shortness in the supply of riches. There is more than enough for all. A palace as large as the Capitol at Washington could be built for every family on earth from the building materials available in the United States alone. Under intense cultivation, this country could produce enough wool, cotton, linen, silk, and food to clothe and feed each person in the world. Uses a particular word there. And he's saying that all of the resources can be cultivated with intense cultivation. What does it mean to cultivate something? Turn the soil, plant it, harvest it, maintain it, keep it, grow it, give it the best nutrition. What is the intense cultivation you're doing with the idea you have called your DMP? The visible supply is practically inexhaustible, and the invisible supply is really inexhaustible. Everything you see on earth is made from one original substance, out of which all things produce, out of which all things proceed. New forms are constantly being made and older ones are dissolving, but all are shapes assumed by one thing. There is no limit to the supply of the formless stuff or original stuff, substance. The universe is made out of it, but it is not all used in the making of the universe. The thing that made the universe is not all used up. Isn't that cool? Think about that for a second. The spaces in, through, and between the forms of the visible universe are permeated and filled with original substance. With the formless stuff, with the raw materials of all things. 10,000 universes can still be made, and even then, the supply of universal raw material will not be exhausted. How much of your mind, how much of your delay, how much of your procrastination is a belief that there's not enough for you? Consciously, you may not think of it that way. In this dialogue right now, you probably wouldn't think that way. It's in the quiet moments when you have self-doubt, when your self-talk creeps in, when your distraction away from the thing that you want to attract starts to take hold. How much of it is in belief that it's not possible for you? There is no limit to the supply of the formless stuff or the original substance. The universe is made out of it, but it was not all used in making the universe. In the spaces through and between the forms of the visible universe, what you can see, visible universe are permeated and filled with the original substance, the formless stuff, with the raw materials of with the raw materials of all things. 10,000 universes can still be made, and even then the supply of universal raw materials will not be exhausted. No person, therefore, is poor because nature is poor or because there is not enough to go around. Nature is an inexhaustible storehouse of riches. The supply will never run short. The original substance is alive with creative energy and constantly producing more forms. When the supply of building materials is exhausted, more will be produced. When the soil is exhausted so that foodstuffs and materials for clothing will no longer grow upon it, it will be renewed and more soil will be made. When all the gold and silver has been dug from the earth, if human beings are still in such a stage of social development as to need gold and silver, more will be produced from the formless. The formless stuff responds to the needs of humans. The formless stuff responds to the needs of humans. It will not let them be without any good thing. What does that mean? Let that settle in for just a second. Don't let that be a sentence of niceties, of cool words, of some depth. Really let me see if I can translate it. The formless stuff responds to the needs of human. When we say we need something, the universe brings us need. It's not saying that you want to say, I need this. It responds to your need. When you have a absolute overwhelming, you know something in your mind, and it shows up, it appears, it starts to manifest itself. That is the need the universe is responding to, not to you needing, I need more money. The universe is saying, tell me what you do. Show me how this need is valuable to the world. Play it deep. And when you show that there is an absolute need for it for the betterment of all those involved, it's just not one-sided. It is not a selfish request. It is a self-full request. All of a sudden, the universe responds to that need to make that a whole, to make that a dream come true. That is called gratitude. The formless stuff responds to the needs of humans. It will not let them be without anything good. Gratitude means it's already happened and you're blessed and showing your blessings for something already good that's happened. See, there's a magnificent magical formula right there. The universe doesn't want you to need anything. It's much like if you were stuck and you needed a chain or a tow rope to get out, you needed that. If we had that, we could get out. And you're picturing what it's like to get out. The universe says, okay, we're going to stop another motorist who just happens to have the exact tow rope you need to hook to your vehicle to pull you out. That's the kind of need the universe is responding to. Do you have it so clear that it can fulfill it, much like you're placing an order in a restaurant? I hope that makes sense. This is true of man collectively. The race as a whole is always abundantly rich. If individuals are poor, it's because they do not follow the certain way of doing things which makes the individual man rich. If individuals are poor, it is because They do not follow a certain way, not the certain way, a certain way for them for doing things, which makes the individual man rich. The formless stuff is intelligent. It is material which thinks. It is alive, and it is always impelled toward more life. It is the natural and inherent impulse of life to seek to live more. It is the nature of intelligence to enlarge itself and the quality of consciousness to seek to extend its boundaries and find fuller expression. The universe of forms has been made by the formless living substance, throwing itself into form in order to express itself more fully. The nature of intelligence is to enlarge itself, and the quality of consciousness to seek and extend its boundaries to find fuller expression. Everything is looking to grow. Everything. The universe is a great living presence, always moving inherently toward more life and fuller functioning. Nature is formed for the advancement of life. Its motive is to increase. Its motive is the increase of life. For this reason, everything which can possibly minister to life is bountifully provided. Everything which can possibly minister, everything which can help your life get better is bountifully provided to you. Now, when I say you, I'm talking about you, the individual, not you, people of Wisconsin or people of Ohio or California. I'm talking about you, the individual who's hearing this right now. That when everything seems against you, there's also a version that everything is for you. Everything is made for you, just for you, solely for you. It's your access to the thinking stuff that allows you to gain manifestation qualities, properties, ownership over the things that are bountifully and abundantly available to you. It comes down to a thinking substance. It comes down to the certain way that works for you. Your certain way doesn't work for me. My certain way doesn't work for you. And in not continually seeking to find your certain way is what you called stuck. If possibilities are 100%, what's the possibilities you have available to you? 100%. What are the actions available? 100%. Between possibilities that the universe offers you and actions, what is the filter between possibilities and action? It's you. Nothing else. We see people who lack arms and legs running races, competing in marathons. How? Their filter says I can. People who have limited use to technology write books. On their phone, they write a book. That's all they have is an old flip phone in South Africa and an internet connection. And they write a Nobel Peace Prize winning book. Possibilities to action. What's the filter? You have access to the thing between possibilities and actions is this thing called the thinking stuff, which permeates and penetrates and fills the inner spaces of the universe. It's between you and me right now. You are not kept poor by shortness of the supply of riches. I shall demonstrate a little farther on that even the resources of the formless substance are at the command of any man or woman who will act and think in a certain way. Is opportunity monopolized? It is not. What is meant by the invisible supply? If opportunity is not limited and you can have anything you desire, list on a sheet what you want and what you seriously want that money will buy. That's activating this part up here, the conscious mind. Slide it down into the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind then sends signals back out to your antenna, your five senses, to become aware, called your reticular activating system. What you're doing when you're setting up your goals, setting up your wants, setting up your wishes, setting up your desires, is you are literally activating the reticular formation system, so your body knows what to reticular activation system to look for. So opportunity is not monopolized. There's a story maybe some people tell that, well, until I get smarter, smartness doesn't monopolize your dreams. Well, until I have more money, if you want capital, you can get capital today. You can find the way to get capital. And the capital you can get starts with thought. So, Chapter 3, is opportunity monopolized? Thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways. Good morning, everybody. All righty.
Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Selka.
My answer is no. Opportunity is not monopolized.
Correct.
I think there's opportunity in everything. You just have to go and get it. That's
and
yes.
How is it that somebody sees opportunity and somebody right next to them doesn't see the same opportunity? How is it that they are limited in seeing possibilities? What do you think the filter is? What do you think the cause is that would cause somebody to say, that probably won't work for me?
Different mindset. Just I think they just looking. I mean, I see that often some people seem to be programmed to work a 9 to 5 job. They don't want to do the extra. So they say your business is not going to work for me, or it's too much work, or I think people are program themselves differently. You can reprogram yourself if you want to, but it's very interesting when I look back, and in the last couple of years I've looked back of how I was when I was a little girl, and so I think I was always that way of entrepreneurial, because I remember I literally forced my mother to start a business that she did not want to start. But it is funny because both my grandparents from either side owned a business, but then my parents did not. So I'm always thinking it, it jumped a generation, literally, because I've always thought that way. I've never just had, even when I was working in a job, I never just had one job. I should say I never just had one stream of income. Never. It just, to me, it was like, well, that doesn't make sense. It's just never made sense to just have one, because if it goes away or if something happens, which can, which we see constantly, but even people that see it, I think since COVID, more people's minds have changed a bit. Before COVID, people would say, oh, I have a job, I don't need anything else. But I think some people were able to pivot and say, hey, maybe a job, one job or one business or one stream of income just isn't enough. So I think it really, I mean, I don't think it even comes from your parents. I mean, it certainly didn't come from mine, but it's like inside of you something. I never looked at it that way till I started with self-development. And I'm like, wait a minute, I have always been that way. But where other people look at me and go, why? Why? I can sit on the couch and watch the TV. I don't watch TV. So yeah, I can only speak for myself. So, I would really love to hear from others if they feel the same way, and how they realized, how they believe that opportunity is abundant. Does that make sense?
It does. And here's where anyone's particular vision requires sales. Let me expand on that. So your parents sold you an idea. You didn't buy it. you bought multiple streams of income. Your
Well,
grandparents had this vision and they tried to sell it to their kids and their kids weren't buying. Sales is a transference of enthusiasm, right? So you have this enthusiasm for multiple streams of income, network marketing, teaching German, a variety of things, doing articles, building an email list. These are all income models. The challenge is when we see something so clearly and somebody else does not, and they say they want to, but they refuse to, we then step into a very sensitive world of transformation. Because we can sell anybody, right? I can get anybody to sign up. I used to sell $20,000 packages in network marketing. That wasn't hard.
no, I think the more expensive the package is, the easier it is to sell because you get people that see the vision.
Right.
Where now you're trying to sell something that's very cheap. People don't see the vision. They may sign up, but they don't do anything.
Well, and if you have that skill of being able to present a higher dollar volume, then sell it for 12 months, kind of like most of the SAS, software as a service, SaaS,
Yeah,
software as a
yeah.
service, where they offer you, it's $29.95, but that's if you buy it for the year, so it's $290, $310. Well, most people, I'll just buy it for the month, right? For the $30 a month, $10, 10% more. Start thinking about the annual expense, if it might become easier for you to translate the value of your business, right? So it's a $1,500 a year program. Oh, well, okay. So that seems a lot more beneficial than it's $95 a month. It just doesn't. So it might sound better. So I'm just offering an opportunity for you to throw that out, just as so somebody can see the cost of ownership, because it is very inexpensive, the value we get from our business models. Why not add more value to? Somebody goes, well, it really can't be. I guess it can't be that worth it if it's only $100 a month. That's ridiculous. A business I can operate a global business for $100 a month. That doesn't seem possible.
Well, I don't have that kind of business. I mean, ours is much more expensive than
Well,
$100.
but just so whatever the
Not a month. I mean, just to get in. It's
yeah, but
not.
that's okay. Cost of ownership. Everything has a price to get in. If I want to buy a car, I got to put a down payment. But to own the car is that's why most people don't own Rolls Royces. It's $2,500 a month to own the car above the $5,000 a month payment, just because of the maintenance on it.
Well, that's why you lease. Many people lease a car because it's much cheaper to lease a car, and then you also don't need to pay to get it fixed because it's included.
Right, but there's also tax benefits. If I buy a Rolls Royce and it's over 5,000 pounds, I get to write it off in my truck business. It's a truck because of its weight.
Well, exactly. I mean, if you register it to your business, it makes sense. Yes.
But what I'm saying is that most people don't understand the value of actually owning a business, a part-time business. Even if they don't, they can get the $6,000 in tax credits because if they know how to run their business.
I was just going to say that I always tell people that, especially in US, I don't know about the tax laws in any other country, but in US, because people don't like to pay taxes, so it's like you have a write-off. If you have a business and you make some money, this is a huge write-off. You don't get that if you get a W-2.
Oh, but here's the difference. We have to also now explain that opportunity is not monopolized. We have to move them, as what Jim Rohn would say, profits are better than wages. Most people only ever understand wages. They don't understand profits. As soon as they make profits, they can make more profit because of the tax rules.
Yes. Yeah.
So we have to educate people that, see, we're trying to convince profit conversations. We're trying to have profit conversations with wage earners. Yeah, and they don't get it.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
So we have to understand. So tell me what profit means. We have to educate them on the transformation. So I would ask people, hey, what are the 3 biggest criteria for you to own a profitable business? And you watch their eyes glass over.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Well, it's got to be, no, I'm saying, do you understand how to create profit in a business?
Right.
Do you know how a business makes profit?
Yeah.
They buy something and they sell something. Where does the profit come in? Well, from what they spent cost, what the cost of it is, to what they sell it for is the profit. That's that's gross income. Profit is after what? Expenses.
Yes.
So what are the expenses you currently have in your house? Power, electricity, food, gas. Awesome. How do you can you sell any of those? No. So you'll never have a profit in your household. Would you like to learn how to create a profit in your household?
That's a great idea.
Well, I don't know how to do that. So would it be fair to say if I showed you a profitable system, you probably wouldn't recognize it the first time? You'll probably say, well, that can't work. You'll probably say things like, well, why hasn't my accountant told me about this? Or why didn't my banker tell me about this? Would it be fair to say that they're not here to teach you how to create a profitable business model?
Bingo.
So if that's the case, then would it be fair again? Can we agree that I'm about to show you something you may not have seen before, may not have ever been had it explained to you in a way to show you how to make profit for your family? And what happens when we hear something new? We want to reject it. So is it okay if we can get to the end of this? How long would you be willing to put in to find out that the monopoly of success is not, the opportunity is not monopolized? Would 15 minutes be? Would 2 hours be? How long have you searched for an opportunity that you thought was monopolized? And what you'll find is that they have very limiting questions that then it's required, to me, it's required. So before we get started, can I ask you 3 questions? Do I have your permission to show you a profitable system? Do I have your permission to make you a little uncomfortable as we reveal or as we discuss what makes a profitable system work? And at the end of it, you have all of the power to say yes or no. Can I take you out of the uncomfortable feeling that you might have stepped into, realizing that this profitable system was as close as your skin? Awesome. How can I be of best service? Where would you like to start first?
So what would they say?
I don't know. Throw something out.
They wouldn't have a clue where they would want to start,
They
right?
wouldn't, but they'll say, show me how to make profit. You have to let them own the starting point. They have to put the starting line. They have to give you the starting line. Otherwise, you're just fishing in the dark. And I don't care what it is, but they have to be the next one that speaks. How would you like me to best serve you to show you how a profitable system works? Where would you like to start? They may just say at the beginning. Anything they say at that point, they take ownership of. Now I can start the dialogue. Dialogue, not monologue. I'm not here to do a presentation. They can go watch a video. That's a monologue. I'm here for a dialogue.
Great point. Yes. So you're saying instead of giving someone a presentation and boring them, you should have a dialogue with them instead.
Well, it may be the same presentation, but they have to start it. Otherwise, I'm talking to that phrase, a man convinced against his will is of the same mindset still. Oh, they'll start. Listen, in the beginning, I got people.
Oh my God, I love that. I've never heard that before. Can you please repeat that?
Sure. A man convinced against his will is of the same mindset still.
Wow, that's powerful. And that's very true. So,
and that's what we do in network marketing. Go show them the plan, get them to sign up. Or we go, it's here it is, the 10th of the month. In 10 more days, people will be going, I got to get 2 more people. And they will get 2 more people, but they won't have 2 more people in 60 days. Because you convinced them against their will. You said all the right things, but they weren't buying none of it.
Yes, and they look at it like they don't understand, as you're saying, and they think that they should have a profit in 1 or 2 months, and that may be so for some people,
Well,
but for other
how
people,
many times? So I often say to people, have you ever seen these corporate reports where these multi-million, billion-dollar companies have lost money 2, 3 years in a row? You ever see that? Then their earnings go down, but they lost money in 3 years. For 3 years, they lost money. Startups, what do you think the average startup profit run rate is? Do most companies make profit their first year?
no.
So what makes you so special? I bet you could make a profit your first year. What makes you so special that you believe you can make a profit your first year when these multinational corporations seem to struggle through their expansion? I can tell you one of the secrets you have if you decide to start this business is you got me to help you make a profit. Now, if corporations, multinational corporations who go out and get billions of dollars, millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars in loans, and the bank is still okay with them not showing a profit after year one, why do they allow them to stay in business? Because it's working. Because they're getting better at their business. How long do you think it's going to take you to get good at your business to make a profit? Now, could we do it in a month? Absolutely. That's the leverage of our system. Question is, are you willing to do the work to make a profit next month?
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with that.
Well, but
Because
we have to
it's
ask them that. See, we assume when they say they want to join us in business, we assume they want a profit. They don't even know what a profit is. They don't know what to do to make a profit. They've never made a profit. They've only put in time. We have to show them that this is a profit model business, not a wage model business. You can go to every event from now until doomsday and put in 500 hours into your business, but you will never make a profit. But you aren't getting paid for the 500 hours you put into your business unless you know how to make a profit. I'm here to show you how to make profit.
Because you have to do it in a certain way.
That's why I don't understand how this book is not a Bible for network marketing companies.
Well, and I've never even heard of it before you. I remember when I started getting on your calls and you were talking about this, and I'm like, I have never heard of that. And but I never looked it up either, so that's certainly on me. I didn't know. This is the only book that was ever suggested.
Yep.
That is close to it, and I don't know. I just never got very friendly with
it. Well, Napoleon Hill's book, the way I explain them to people who come into my world, Napoleon Hill is the art of getting rich. There's an art to it. Listen, you can give me watercolors and a canvas, and I can put colors on a canvas. I need the Wallace D. Wattles certain way to make the colors and the canvas produce the art. Napoleon Hill's art always works, but sometimes I can't get it to work for me. But if I listen to Wallace D. Wattles certain way, if I mix chartreuse white with octagon or Ozic, I don't know even the colors of it'll produce this. That's a certain way. I mix those two colors, they will always produce this. I didn't know that I could mix this and always produce that. I was mixing this and that, trying to get the formulation, but I was never mixing the right things because I wasn't doing it in a certain way.
Oh, that's huge. I wish somebody had explained that to me instead of keep telling me just keep doing the same thing you're doing. And I'm thinking that's not working.
That gives you a 25% success rate. Because if we are 4 personalities, you are a particular personality, these other 3 will never sync with you. So you go, oh my God, we're like the best friends. We've like known each other for years and we just met. And that's that 25% out of the 100% of possibility. What I offer you through the teachings and explanations and the formation of ideas is, how do we communicate? We're still this brand, we're still this body type, mind types and style. How do we still offer opportunities to people who don't even like to be around us? And what I mean by that is, we're not their flavor, we're not their cup of tea. There's a lot of people who say, I can only handle Sean for so much, he is not my cup of tea. But yet I'm still good friends with them. And the reason I'm good friends with them is because I understand who they are and I meet them where they are. I don't say, you got to show up here for us to have a relationship. I go meet them because I know I can go there without losing my identity. So when we have a conversation with somebody, ask, what does it mean to, you might do a post. What does it mean to have profit? And just leave it at that. What does it mean to have profit?
What does it mean to you to have profit, or just what does it mean to have profit?
No, just, yeah, don't poke a finger in their chest. What does it mean to you? Just say, what does it mean to have profit?
All right, I'm going to do that.
And see what happens. And I bet you'll be surprised. You'll get some comical answers. You'll probably get something that might be religious based. And the reason is, if I say, what does profit mean to you? Now they're spelled differently. Profit, like you're never a prophet in your own land, is different than
profit. Oh, yeah, well, that's
right. But somebody's going to play on that. They're going to go profit. Oh, well, you walk on water. You know, what the hell does that do? That's not how you spell, but you don't respond to it. You go in that. I love your answer. But start to get people to think, what does it mean to have profit? And you'll get the business one. Your COGS, when your COGS are less than your selling price, cost of goods, right? That's what COGS stands for, cost of goods sold, COGS. And this, that, and the other. So you'll have all of this stuff, but you'll start to see that of all of the people that follow you and the average response you have on your posts, this might be a lot less. You may just get likes. You may not even get comments, which is a clue.
Yeah.
So
and I don't care about, I really don't care about likes, because I don't know.
It's still up. So here's what you do with likes. I was taught this by Ray Higdon. Yes. If somebody likes your, well, actually, he was taught this by Jesse Lee Ward. If somebody likes your stuff, say, were you simply cheerleading for me, or do you want to know more about what I do? And she would always drop a link. So anybody who clicks a like or a
she drop
the link to her business.
Because sometimes people get very upset when you do that.
Screw them. They don't need to be on your list. Stop worrying about them. I don't care if you get upset. I'm running a business. You got to own it. So what if they leave you? They weren't yours anyways. They weren't part of your tribe anyways. You're not here for likes. You said you're not here for likes.
Yeah.
So if you like my stuff, were you cheerleading me?
Okay.
Were you cheerleading me, or did you want to know more about what I do? Here's the link. And you'll find that a lot more people will click that link than you say, hey, listen, if you want to know what I do, drop a 1 in the chat and I'll send you my link. Nobody's going to ask for that.
So are you cheerleading me, or are you?
Or were you wanting to know more about what I do?
Okay.
Here's the link. And that's the response she did. And she would have her teams go do posts every day, and people would like the stuff, and they would send that little canned response. And she had the largest business, the fastest growing business, probably across network marketing.
I know. I followed her. I loved the way she
and did. That's one of her secrets that she would teach her teams.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that with me.
You're welcome. And she shared it with me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think that is, anybody that is using social media, that is great, because I do get likes for things.
Hey, thanks for cheerleading me. Were you just cheerleading me? Right? You can tweak that a little bit. Thanks for cheerleading me. Were you just cheerleading me, or were you curious about what I do? Here's the link. And you'll be amazed at how many people will just click the link because they're like, well, I am kind of curious, but I didn't want to have to ask.
I'm writing it down. I'm not ignoring you.
No, I know.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's like so helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's doing it in a certain way.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. And so
Yeah.
now,
And I love you. I
and I
love
love you
it
too.
and I love you.
So the key is that because you are seeking something new, totally out of the blue came up that's within your skill set, and you're like, oh my God, I could do that. I could do this now. Imagine, listen carefully. Imagine if, as you have dialogues with people who are new to your business, have a similar, oh my gosh, I could do that now response. They don't have that 9 years of your experience in network marketing. How do we get them to say, oh my gosh, I could do that now?
I don't have 9 years either.
Okay.
It's barely 6 years.
Okay. So 6 years.
Yes.
In networking, you have a couple of decades.
Yes. Because
But in
that's
this business model, it's 6 years. But don't let your 2 decades of networking limit you to 6 years of this business. I have 40 years experience in sales, 24 years I've used it inside of this profession. I have 4 decades of how to move people into buying something they didn't know would serve them so well.
I
That's
love.
the challenge, is people don't realize how valuable what we have to offer is. And we leave them not knowing how valuable what we have is to them, which is why I developed questions. I want to find their biggest pain point through asking questions to say, well, how soon would you like that? How long do you want to own that story? Well, I want to get rid of it today. If you could get rid of it today, you probably wouldn't even recognize it, would you? Well, I hope I would. Can we have a question? Can we have a conversation on hope then?
Wow. Yes. So much different. Yeah, because I've heard in the past the person who asks the most question owns the conversation.
My daddy said the one in the front of the room with the pen makes the most money. So I just choose not to give up my pen.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Anyone else? Thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways? Take with you.
Here's a thought, or two, or three, or four, or five. First things first. I want to say thank you for the session we had over the weekend. It was awesome because I went ahead and had a conversation with some friends later on Saturday, and they were asking me what's up. So I said, well, here's what's up. I said, here's what's up. And I started talking about, trading business and how it's going with you and so on. And after the conversation, I realized I did most of the talking, which was
Mm-hmm.
probably not, the best. But at the end of the day, they did ask for my input. Um, and as I was talking to them, and they also do trade. I mean, I got them to do trading because they were asking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying it's going on good and so on and so forth. And I said, well, that's okay. And then they asked me how it's going for me. So we started having a conversation, and after talking about trading and about especially the work I do with you nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
I told them about $100. I told them about the experience, told them about all that. I mean, they were looking at me like I just split the sea with Moses, man. They thought I was gonna walk on water. And it was so good. Another thing I realized is that the stuff we're doing here is really cementing in, and especially with this series right now with the Waddle stuff. I think it is a question. So, would you agree that a nuclear power bomb would be if you continuously study the material, from Hill and Waddles? If you like actually study, like reread and reread and reread and study, would you say that that's going to be a good thing?
So, what would you say?
I'd say that would be very good. I'd
What
say
what
that.
would be what wouldn't be very good?
Reading it like it was a telenovela or something, just like
Okay.
going over it like it was newspaper.
So, if there's a good version and a not so good version, which one do you want to try first?
The good one,
Okay.
definitely.
When would you want to start that?
Starting that immediately.
Awesome. Let me know how it works.
It works awesome already. So yeah, I really wanna.
So,
I'm
did you see what I
really.
did there? Because everybody asks, well, how do you deal with people that call you all the time? I didn't give you any answer, did I? I offered you suggestions that you already knew. And you knew the answer to pick, but you didn't pick it and you wanted to ask a question. Which part of you wanted to answer the question and which part of you knew the answer?
Well, the eye that set the question was the eye that's probably gonna say, "Let's not do this and let's go watch Netflix," I presume.
Mm-hmm.
And the
The,
eye that said, "Well, we're gonna take it," that was the eye that takes action.
so which eye should you have more conversations with?
The latter.
Okay. And when the conversation gets confusing, that's what you have me for, is to help you clarify your eye.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you did that with me during the past weekend. It was so good. I mean, I remember I came home and I remember you saying the thing about the lake, and it's all good that I'm in here every day. I'm talking to you guys or at the lake and so on. But can you reproduce the emotion? Can you reproduce the same thing if you're going to be in your car at 100 degrees outside with no AC? And I was thinking about that, and I had an entry in the journal saying, yes, I could, because
And what is
I
it? What
noticed
did you do to trigger it?
it was extremely simple. I just sat down. I was looking at my journal, so I was at home. I was
Yeah.
at my work desk. I just sat
Yeah.
down, and I was like, does actually, I asked myself a question. Um, does it in the big picture, does it really matter if I'm gonna be at the lake or whatever? Because if I want to get to where I want to get to, I'm not gonna have time to go to the lake every day because I'm gonna be doing some other things. So can I reproduce that feeling? And it just light up. And then I remembered the famous word denied. And it just lit up like a Christmas tree, man. It was so good.
So, what about Luca and Maria?
I'm gonna say I was on this particular occasion
Mm-hmm.
probably a little bit self-centered,
Mm-hmm.
not towards the two of them, the four of them with the Andre Ivana, yeah.
Andrea, yeah.
But it did work as a
Sure.
starting as a
And
starting.
that's a great starting point.
Yeah.
But how much depth does that have?
It has the okay, let me try to put it this way. It has the depth to start the momentum.
Sure. But how much
Yeah.
depth does it have? That wasn't my question.
Uh-huh.
You got a great
Okay.
answer. Wasn't my question.
That's what the teacher said.
How long can that negative drive you?
Maybe the first couple steps, I'd say.
Cool. So then you got to have the fill in, which is Luca,
Which
Andrea,
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Eva, Maria. And
Oh
now
yeah. Oh.
imagine denied on their front door.
Mm, don't want to do that.
Now that'll take you for the rest of forever.
I really want to thank you for that input. That was this past weekend. It was so good.
And this is all starting. Listen, you're doing
Yeah,
in 40 days what you haven't been able to do in 4,000 plus days. So it's a transition. It is a transformation.
I've been thinking about that. What you said regarding how we when we come to a conclusion together, or you help me, come to
When
come
we
to terms
arrive at
with
the
with
our
when we
train
arrive
wreck.
at Yeah, you always say how all of that was available. However, it just, just wasn't presented, let's say, or whatever,
As close as your skin.
whatever you say. And then I remember that conversation because yesterday we had lunch. I had lunch with a friend of mine and his brother, and his brother has a landscaping business, and he has extreme difficulties with finding workers because these kids, I mean, kids, guys my age, right, like
Hmm.
in their 20s, they just don't understand profits against wages, right? Because he's really giving them an opportunity to make good money. And I mean, they're doing landscaping is not rocket science, um, but they just don't get it. And then we had a conversation. And I told him, "Hey, listen, I met up quite a lot of young guys, especially that don't understand that there's an opportunity out there,
Hmm.
and they're able to literally make 2 or 3 times the average monthly income in this country by doing some quote unquote stupid. I mean, it's not rocket science, to do landscaping, especially because they're going to be the help. Like they're not going to be the guy that's going to actually do the work. They're good, just going to be helping out there. And it just got me mad. And then I realized, I remembered actually that you said, and you say all the time, um, we can only get frustrated if we give ourselves permission to do that. So I was like, why should I get pissed off at someone else who doesn't see the opportunity? Because there's a lot of people that don't see the opportunity. And that's okay because at the end of the day, not all of us can be business owners. Not all of us can be this and that. I mean, they can, but they just choose not to be.
Ready for
And
an
I
upgrade?
guess, yes, well, always.
Why not qualify them to see if they're ready for the business opportunity before you start talking?
Mm, ready for an upgrade.
See, see what
Yeah.
happens is that the people who are working in the landscaping are not having anything to brag about. You're not changing what they get to brag about. They get to go make a bunch more money and quit faster. The reason he's having trouble is because he pays them more. He shouldn't pay them less, but he should help them understand what they get to brag about. They're bragging about the money.
Mm,
They're not bragging about the result of the landscaping. He needs to switch his conversation that he creates long-term opportunity in a business that they only have to work 6 months out of the year.
yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So what if you could find an opportunity that would pay you a year's salary for 6 months of work?
Ooh, this is interesting. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
say you wouldn't
is it
believe what
really
happened,
shocking?
but last night, 2 o'clock in the, it's a true story. 2 o'clock in the morning, a guy calls me up last night.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy that I used to work with back in 2023, no, when we had the best year.
Mm-hmm.
And he calls me up, and he's on drugs or whatever, and he says, "Hey, listen, I just wanted to hear your voice. We haven't seen each other in like a year or something. I mean, ever since I had the accident."
Mm-hmm.
And and I was like, "Where were you? I mean, I'm here. I'm here for up for grabs, right?" And he said, "And I spent all my money. I sniffed it, drank it, whatever, and I was so embarrassed to talk to you when I was in Belgrade because he's living abroad now again." He said, "I came back to Belgrade. I knew what happened to you, and I was so embarrassed to see you because I knew you didn't make the same mistakes I made, and you were like, 10 steps ahead, saved up the money and all the stuff, right?" And I said, "Well, I mean, that doesn't have anything to do with you. I mean, my journey is my journey. I'm super happy for you spending them, blowing up the money in clubs or whatever. That was your choice. That's the best thing you did with the information you had at the time. That's okay. I mean, the money's gonna come and go." You started crying and whatever, and then you talk about the opportunity today. And the way I see it is going, coming back to the DOS we did 2 months ago, saying that it's all a choice. I think one of the biggest lessons for me is the choice that you presented me with 2 months ago. It is the more importantly, the choice to not do something and the choice to do something. Wow.
And
Yeah.
Bert Goldman, known as the American monk, would say that's a source foundation. What you just said right now about choice is a source foundation, because from this day forward, that word choice just took on a whole nother meaning. So this is a new foundation you get to build on. And from this point, from this space, from this moment, you still have a choice, left or right, up or down. And that will always be your choice. And this is a source foundation. Maybe it was the call last night. That was the source foundation at 2 a.m. to understand that you got to this point to realize that was the trigger for the source foundation. When we understand, when we start to describe and prescribe to ourselves these source foundations, these moments where it is non-negotiable. That's what I consider a source foundation. It is non-negotiable. Drink Diet Cokes. Mark had me not drink Diet Cokes 3 years ago on a Wednesday morning. He said, you need to stop that. Done. Because I believed in him and I wanted to stay in his good graces by saying, okay, I'm done. I'm not going to have to lie to you that I snuck 17 more in the next week. No, done. That was it. Stopped. That was a source foundation. He said, I need you around. That stuff, he says, I know what it did to me. I don't want you doing to me what it did. I don't want it doing to you what it did to me. Done. Source foundation, Diet Coke's done. In
Do
the
you think
last 3 years, I probably had maybe 1 or 2 in a rum and Coke.
do you think it's just some kind of a flip the switch
Oh, absolutely.
scenario? Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. It's when you say, okay, done. I don't. Decision is the ability to do something long after the emotion of wanting to shift it leaves you.
Yeah.
So if you do decide, decision means to cut off. Incision, cut in, decision, cut off. Most people never cut off, right? In military stories, what's the thing we hear when they land on the shores? What do they order the boats to be done? Burn the boats. We're either coming back carrying them on raising our shields high, or being carried on our shields. Death is imminent. Whether it's you or them is yet to be seen. And DMP is the death of the old you, which is why people resist it. They read all of the books. All of the books is there. All of this stuff is in public domain. Think and Grow Rich will be in public domain, I think, in 6 more years. You won't ever have to buy it again, but people will still buy it. People do different versions of it. But Science of Getting Rich is already in public domain. All of this stuff is available. Dorothea Brand. I can't even remember the title of the book, but I know who she is. All of these books that are Brainology. All of these things are in public domain. They're free, but nobody's Googling them. Ooh, how do I beat the algorithm of Instagram? Are you kidding me? How much control do you have over a shifting algorithm? None. So I'd find a bigger truth, because there's a bigger truth than something that changes all the time. Truth does not change. Truth does not change. And if you ever pay attention to TikTok, there's people who make tens of dollars, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, because they're doing what? Income producing activity. I got this pen. It's $3. You want to buy it? That's an income producing activity. You got to let people know you got stuff to sell. Most of you are the greatest archives of content because you never tell anybody you got anything to sell. Well, I want them to reach out to me. What are they reaching out to you for? What are they buying? What are you selling? I sell peace of mind and goals faster than you ever thought possible. Well, I don't want to do that. That sounds like a lot of work. You're right. I don't need many of you to do it. I'm only looking for those who want to raise their hand. I don't have a title. I have a result. I don't know. You hang around Sean, you feel good, and things happen. Well, what is it? What's his title? I don't know. Sheep herder? I don't know what he does. But I know he did what he does for me. And that's what you want people to own. So these kids that come in for landscaping, give them a reason to brag. He sucks at recognition, I'll tell you that. Oh, I'm paying you a lot. Money is not the driving factor. That just proves it. He pays more than anybody else and they won't stay because recognition is what men and women die for and babies cry for. Pay him a couple dollars less, give him a t-shirt that says, I'm a world-class landscape architect. Ooh, where'd you get that? At my work. Give him a reason to brag. We get around celebrities. Oh my God, I got a picture with Tony Robbins. Yeah, you know what Tony says when he sees the picture of us together? That's me and Sean. What's going through that amazing Serbian brain of yours?
A lot of things.
Yep.
Starting starting with so what I said to my friends on Saturday night when we had a barbecue,
Yep.
and the imagery I'm getting after this explanation from you, this input, is that the it's going to be hard to explain, but here we go. So for me, how I understand, how I see it is that the money itself, the dollar figure, is not gonna be it's gonna be the first in the seven whys. It's gonna be the logical why, right? And it's not gonna. I mean, it can start you somewhere, but it's not gonna get you anywhere.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Well, it's a starting. It's not. It is the compass. It is the GPS coordinate to start with. It is not the.
Yeah.
It is not the path. Right.
Yeah. It's gonna be the foundation. Let's say a part of it.
Yep.
But the way I see it, and what I've been trying to focus on, well, not trying, but what I did focus on over the past 40 days, and what I will continue to focus on every single day until they drop me down 6 feet under,
Yep.
is working on my skill. And I think that's for me personally, and I hope for folks at home as well, is the biggest IPA I can think of, biggest ever.
And skill for what?
Skill for trading, skill for people, skill to work on me, skill to journals,
So what's the
a bunch
bigger
of
skill
skills.
than all of those?
The skill for me to enhance my DMP.
Right. But what's the skill that you need for that?
Skill I need to enhance my DMP is, well, understanding me.
Okay. And what skill do you need for that?
Well, the suggestion is gonna say something.
So
Oh wow.
to better understand you, what skill do you need to develop?
Oh, the society.
What's that?
The society pillar.
Well, maybe, but what's the skill you need for you? That society's outside of you. What skill do you need to develop to better understand you, to be able to feel you? What do you need to pay more attention to? Strategy or state?
Oh, state.
So if you need to pay it, so what skill do you need to get better at state for you?
For me, I'd say journal a lot more.
Okay, so and if you journal a lot more, what do you get?
I get the prolonged state of gratitude and feeling good.
Okay, so gratitude. So what happens when you're in gratitude? What do you feel when you're in gratitude?
I feel like life is happening for me, not to me.
Okay, and if life happens for you and not to you, and you have complete influence over that, how do you feel?
Oh, I feel living high on the hog, man. I feel awesome.
Okay, so living high on the hog, we're 9 questions in now. Living high on the hog is a feeling of what? Of you. You for you is what? That living high on the hog is still an external expression of an internal feeling. What is the feeling you get when you live high on the hog for you?
For me, it is having a complete 100% belief club and calmness
So
about
if
what
you
I'm gonna
believe
do.
100% in you and 100% calmness, what would you call that feeling? You what you?
Uh, hmm.
Begins with an L.
Begins with an L. Leab.
O
Uh, what?
V L
Hello?
O V.
Hello? Oh, self-love. Oh,
So we had to get to 10 questions for you to say, I'm going to get better at trading. I'm going to get better at this. I'm going to get better at that. It's only better at love. Those are the only two things. You
oh,
can either get better at love or not good at love. You can go, that's the only two things you will ever do is better at love or worse at love. That's it. Period. Period. Everything we're about better trading. If you get better trading, do you love you more?
oh yeah.
If you help people get better at trading, do they love you more?
That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And so if you can give bigger tips because you got better at trading, does the servers love you more?
I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah.
I don't want you to
It's
see what I'm saying at all. I want you to
yeah,
feel what I'm saying.
I'm definitely feeling ecstatic and electric. Yeah, so
So
so yeah,
the skill you need to develop is what?
self-love. Love in general,
Yeah,
self-love for
self-love,
me and
love in
others.
general, self-love.
Self-love.
If you love more things, do you love that you love more things?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter whether it's trading or picking up sticks.
Yeah.
So I ask the question, are you ready for the love? Takes on a whole different meaning now, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. I will say I am squirming to it.
You don't have to lie. You can even lie at this point. You can say, yeah, I'm ready for the love.
I'm ready for love.
Yeah. Don't give a
I'm ready.
long answer. It's either yes or no.
I'm ready. Yes, I'm ready.
Now, just look around the restaurant, look around outside if you can see out the windows. I know there's windows behind
I
you.
can see. Yep, I can see
Yeah. What looks different?
everything. Sunshine, the people walking, having a conversation, the water.
So you thought people thought you were odd before. Now they're going to completely see you odd, and they're not going to know what to say. They're going to be ecstatic. See, when you were in your odd state before, there was still the negative side of it, the strategy side of it. So they were saying do. They're going to ask you do questions. Now they're not even going to have a conversation. They're going to say, "Did you do something to your hair?" They're going to find something physical in you that's different.
Oh, this is what you've been saying when they say you lost your. Yeah, okay.
And now because they've completely lost you. They're gonna say, is that a new jumper? Is that new? What did you? Is that a new watch? And don't argue with them. This is their wanting to step into your world, and they don't know how else to step in your world except through the physical side of it. They don't know how to step into your world energetically because you have left them. And the only thing they see is the physical body, but they don't have the energetic AJ around them anymore. And yet you're still right there because they've not experienced this love. That's the challenge. When you step into love and feel the love the universe has for you and you sit in this bliss, that's why the gurus wear the white and they sit in front of the room and and people are like, oh my God, oh my God. Elvis had an energy. He'd shake his hips and they didn't show his hips on TV because that was like voodoo, right? And he would just show up and people would scream. Frank Sinatra would scream, oh, right? Any rock star scream. People in the take their tops off, look, right? They don't know how to respond to their energy. And people are going to they operate that way around you. Some they will be turned off. They'll be like, man, how come we're not hanging out anymore? I'm just busy. We're not busy. They don't know how to hang around you. So we have to offer them the opportunity to show up. It requires us to be even more of a servant without being a slave. Even Jesus washed the feet of the disciples. Didn't make him any less Jesus. So
Thank
when we go put our arms around our friends or wash their fears, doesn't make us less. We offer them grace and peace and opportunity to step into a new world. And when they're ready, I'll always show up. That's when you see Gigi come back and she shows up for Gigi. I always make it a point to recognize them because it took fear. It took courage to come back. And if I see their name, I'm shouting them out. I love them. Welcome back. It's like, but I haven't been here in so long. You're always here. You can't go anywhere. This is Hotel California. You can check in, but you can't never leave. What'd you learn? What'd you like?
I knew we were gonna come down to this at one point. Just like the stare down in the Western movies, you know. I learned. I gotta start with learn.
Mm-hmm.
I learned once again that it is okay for me to receive, for me to love myself and others. That's completely okay. And that's the way it should be to the full degree of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I love is you just said the word. I couldn't remember the word, but you just said it. Blissfulness, bliss. I love that feeling of I've been working on it, kind of, trying to cultivate it and trying to have it be around me as much as possible, in me, around me, through me, under me, over me, whatever. Um, and I really love the blissful feeling
So how
because
far
it
away? How far? Give me a distance in millimeters. How far away Bliss is from you?
6, 6.
And if it was 60 kilometers versus 6 millimeters, which do you think is harder to get to?
The 6 millimeters because
It doesn't take any journey.
I would take it for granted. Yeah,
So
yeah.
how do you make sure that that is the highest feeling that you operate in?
Hmm.
How do you get close to that? If you're that close to it, how do you even get closer? What's in between you and the 6 millimeters of bliss?
The other eye that wanna, you know,
So if
watch
the other
Netflix.
eye is between you, so let's use some logic. If you're this big, are you bigger than 6 millimeters?
Yep.
And the eye that's not you is between you and bliss, and it's only 6 millimeters. Who's bigger?
Me.
Why does it have more strength?
Oh, bonus. Uh, well, he's been doing some bodybuilding over the years, I guess.
Well,
But
does the eye that's the in between love the lack of bliss more than you love bliss?
no,
Then love the lack of bliss for making you realize how close it is. Say, and I love that.
and I love that.
Now, how far is the distance?
4.
And say it again. And I
4.
love that.
I love that.
Now,
That's
how
gonna be
far?
2. That's gonna be 2. And then we're gonna do it
Say it
again.
again. And I
And I
love.
love that. I
Now,
love
how
that.
far?
It's just teeny tiny.
Okay, then say I love that.
I love
Doesn't
that.
have to be any farther away, but if you keep saying it's that far, then say, and I love that.
I
And
love
then
that.
let it flow in. Now what happens? Tell me say, how many more times do you need to say, and I love that for bliss to actually be inside of you?
I don't need to say it anymore. I'll say it just because I love it, but it's not necessary anymore.
So are you now borrowing bliss or are you
I'm,
owning bliss?
I'm using the bliss I already have. I'm gonna own it.
Interesting answer. Are you borrowing it or are you owning it?
Owning it.
Because you can still use it, but that doesn't mean you own it. That's called stealing. If I used your money, I can use money. What's the difference between whether I use your money or my money? Well, one is my money and the other one's stealing. So are you using your bliss or are you using somebody else's? And your body's telling me what the hell is going on.
Yeah. I'm using my own bliss.
Okay. So does that feel different?
Yes.
Do you now the skill you need to work on, possibly in self-love, is to make sure you know how to mine bliss from the universe. You know those machines that pull water out of the air?
Yeah.
Can you pull bliss out of the air? Is there bliss in that water you just drank? Everything you do should be an incoming of bliss.
Everything you're doing is making you automatically rich or poor.
In this moment, you have a choice.
Choose joy or misery. I got a couple things in here. Don't think it's just
right.
it's not.
But it's repetition. So we got through all of this complicated to come back to joy or misery, which you've heard for 4 years.
It's yeah.
Cool.
It's
What's the difference? Give or take a year.
that is very interesting. It's very interesting.
So now, if bliss is coming to you, what do you have to give?
If bliss is coming to me, what do I have to give?
Bliss.
Oh, okay. So the
Because
law of reciprocity.
yeah. So
Okay.
if you give it, you have space for it. And if bliss has a quality of 0 to infinity in goodness, what level are you at of receiving? What level of bliss are you receiving? Level 5, level 50, 500, 10 million?
Oh, level 1,000. I don't know.
Cool. Out of an infinite possibility, you're at 1,000, which is better. So here's the challenge. If you're receiving bliss at 1,000 and you're talking to somebody who's receiving bliss at 1, do you think you're going to have an interesting conversation?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're
So
not
how do you
gonna
think they don't understand you?
okay. Okay. Well, I always thought that they don't understand because they don't see my vision, and it's my job to explain my vision to them. But
Well, how
it's
can they
just
see yours if they can't see theirs?
they can't see theirs. Yeah.
The only reason that people see mine is because they see theirs and they want a bigger vision. But I can't show them my big vision if they can't even turn on their lighthouse. I have to get you the possibility to see a vision that if they choose to see more, they know I can help them get more. My goal is to always be farther ahead. My goal is to always be farther ahead that when they turn their bright light on, I'm at the end of that light going, hey, come on down. Everything's going to be fine. No matter how strong they turn on their light, I always want to be at the edge of that light going, come on, we're just the other side of this. So they know I've walked the path. I've been there. Now, if they light a candle, I'm not going to come running in from 500. Do you know how scary footsteps sound in the dark? So if I have to take 3 footsteps to get to the edge of their candlelight, it's going to scare the hell out of them. I know I have to become fully aware and present, which means that I have to be present in our conversation, that I need to know if you're even borrowing light from my candle. If you're borrowing light from my candle doesn't go out. I'm okay with everybody borrowing some light from my candle, which means I still have to have a candle lit. But as soon as they get the candle lit, they go, I have 5 candles in my pocket, and they pull out 5 more candles. I help light them. They light their own. They're lighting their own candles. I'm helping them light candles. And now 5 candles in a room, 6 candles in a room are much brighter than 2. And this possibility of awareness, the challenge is that if I have a candle and I have I get 5 candles lit, the candles go in all directions. Light goes in all directions from a candle, not a flashlight. That's a directed beam. Most people, we're trying to direct their flash. Look out there, shine the flashlight. And they don't have a flashlight they can shine called recognition, because they're going to say, I suck. They're going to start to see themselves. You ever turn on the light or something? You look in the mirror and go, what the hell is that? Oh my God, I got food on my shirt. You ever leave the restaurant with food on your shirt and didn't know it? That's what happens when we start to light people up. Oh my God, look how bad because they start comparison. Oh my God, you're so much better at this than me. You're right. And we take it as, oh, look at that. They need me. That's how good I am. How fast can we get them to start moving with their light? You could listen with in the movie The Secret. Jack Canfield talks about the headlights. You could, with a set of headlights, you can drive from East Coast to West Coast because all you need to see is what's next, and then it goes to the quiet voice. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the next step. We're trying to show everybody the staircase, how it was built, what's the ASTMI rating, what's the blah blah blah, what's the handrail like. Can they see the next step, and which way are they going? Up the staircase or down the staircase? It's all we need to know. Which step are they taking? Are they going up or are they going down? And we have to ask them, which way do they want to go on the staircase? But we never get to that point. Here's how you can make $7 million in our business. I want that. And they don't even have a candle. And we leave and they're still in the dark. Not fair. Which is why I don't like what network marketing can do to people. I love what it can do for them, but not what it does to them, which is why I started this 6 years ago, 7 years ago. This call 6 years ago. What'd you learn? What'd you like? Now.
Well, the imagery I got when you were talking about the candle and everything, and
Yep.
how people how you let people take a little bit of your light. That's the issue I overcame on Christmas Eve on Serbian Christmas, because I wouldn't say I was cheap. I'd say I was hardly parted with money. And then I just decided to go crazy on Christmas and spend a lot of money. I mean for Serbian terms.
Yeah.
And I felt awesome afterwards and never even thought about it since. Not even in the negative way.
Right. And
Clear.
so much so that you gave money to a charity.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like,
so you started a process.
Like 3 weeks after.
Yeah.
And then I want to go back to the conversation I had with these friends on Saturday, because I understand what I can do better now, which is we were talking about it and they were asking me about my results and everything because they want to know how much money I made, obviously. And I didn't tell them the figure. I told them the percentage-wise return I made and so on. And they did exactly what, I mean, they did exactly what you said. They started, you're so good, and I saw despair on their face. And this is one of the first times ever that my instant reaction wasn't coming from ego, but it was, okay, hey, listen, let's take a step back here. Let's figure out, what did you do? And they said, well, we started working at charts, we started learning every day. I said, well, there you go. That's an income producing activity. And then I just saw, I'm gonna start crying. I saw the light lit up in their face again after having a moment of despair. And I felt so good after that conversation. Maybe talked for a little bit longer than I should have, but I think
first one's
I
worst
did,
one, but you're having the dialogue.
yes, yeah. And by the way, that's the friend that sent me a New Year's text with a text, say Happy New Year's, wish you all the best, whatever, to you and your family, and please don't leave for the States. That's the same guy that we had a conversation, and I hope I left them better than what I found them at. They were definitely happier when I left, that's for sure. And he quit on him trying to steal and hack into the root of my success. He's not going to do that. I specifically explained that's not going to happen. And I told him at one point about a month ago, hey, listen, love you. You're a good friend of mine. We've known each other for 10 years. But if you don't start, you don't stop, I'm going to be cutting you off. And he said, oh, okay, okay. And then we didn't see each other for a month. And then he calls me up, this past weekend and so on and so forth. So um, everything we're doing here, I can really see the evidence
Ready for
of
an
how
upgrade?
it's working out. Always.
Send him a text right now saying, hey, listen, I just got to brag on you on my international call. Thanks for being my friend.
That because I actually have a group chat with them, with the two of them. So
Good,
my friend
great.
and his
Saying I
girlfriend.
just got to brag. Hey, thanks for letting me brag on you guys this morning. I loved it. Thanks for being my friends. What's the definition of reputation? What people say about you in the rooms you're not in. That'll probably be one of the first texts I ever get that somebody said, listen, I just promoted you in a room you weren't in. Thanks for letting me brag on you. That's the only reason people hang around us is so they get to brag. Period. You hang around me because you get to brag. You're paying to hang around me and you brag about that too. It's okay to brag about, listen, I pay him as a mentor. I pay my mentors. I brag about that. But only to people that know that that's happening. Nobody cares that you spend money or you got a lot of money or you spend $200,000 a year on mentors. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Except for those that want to know. Which is why my mentors are always free.
Sent.
And let's see how long it takes for a response if it doesn't happen in the next couple of minutes.
I think they're working at this time,
Well,
but that's okay.
well, see, you just put a limit on it. Why would you put a limit on it?
Oh, well, they're gonna respond when they see it, whenever
Okay,
that happens.
Yeah, but didn't
Oh,
they energetically just get it?
They got it. They got a little bit of the AJ Candle light squish in their lives, and they're gonna feel a
You
light
weren't ready for the
breeze.
love. Oh, well, they're probably working.
This is exactly what happened with Ruth. God bless her when she called me on the weekend. She said, "Hey, listen, I want to, and then I said, well, I don't want to take up your time and blah blah blah." Yeah, thank you, Ruth. By the way, a huge shout out to Ruth and Silky.
So there you go.
Thank you.
See, it never ends, does it? Everything
Never
is connected
ends.
to everything is connected to everything. And it always comes back to, are you ready for the love? Period. I haven't kept this secret from any of you. Where's the best place to hide the greatest secret? Right in front of you. Love it. There you go, ladies and gents. This is about, are you ready for the love? That's it. That's it. Well, yeah, yes, I'm ready for the love. What does that mean? Well, that I'll become rich. What does that mean? Go play it out 7 levels deep. And you'll be amazed that it's self-love. All of what you're about to go do, you are going to be a part of it. And if the you that's going to be a part of it isn't ready for the love that's going to come from you giving more, having more, being more, serving more. I have friends who were sleeping in their car. Now somebody in their organization, their house burns down and they stroke them a check for 20 grand and don't even think about it. Life changing. And they go, that is the easiest thing in the world for me to do. If you had a choice to give 1,000 hours to your favorite charity or $1,000, which would you give? So time is more valuable than money. Let's go make a lot of money because your time is valuable. Love y'all. I'm your head brain training. Let's go get ready for the Love Misfit. I'll see y'all where?
At the next event.
At the next event. Somebody give me some Costa Ricas.
Pura
Pura
vida.
vida.
La vida.
the pura vida, love of life, and some Lydias
Peace be
Peace
with
be with
you.
us.
be with us all. And the queen of time is more valuable than money, Jessie Lee Ward.
Asleep.
Asleep.
We love you, girl. And the little girl, white fluff, that gave us some precious times. How about a little gurgly,
Gurgly,
gurgly?
gurgly.
Gurgly,
Love
gurgly.
it, love it. Y'all have a great day. We will see you tomorrow morning, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.
Thank
Bye
you,
for now.
thank you.
Love you all.
Thank
Have a great
Love you
day.
all. Have a
Love
great
you.
day.
Where's the end button?